Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up? Welcome to Cowboys StoryLine. I'm Nick Eatman here. It is Thursday, September the 19th. I think I broke the microphone. All right. Let's get this thing going here. We got a couple more days before the Ravens come to town, and they're going to be pissed. But you know what? The Cowboys should be as well. That's what should make this game a lot of fun. I don't like to call it a must-win here in late September or mid-September, but it's a better win. You know, you better win, especially if you want to be the type of team that you want to be. You better respond somehow, some way. I think both teams probably feel that way, and definitely from the Cowboys standpoint, it's not just losing; it's the way you lost. It's the way you got manhandled and by a team that you didn't expect. You didn't expect any team to really come in and do that, and because it hasn't happened in 3 or 4 years for a team, at AT&T Stadium to come and do that. So, wake up call for sure. Let's see how the Cowboys respond. The injury report did not look great when you saw it yesterday that came out. A couple of guys on there, CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs. I think it's a foot for Diggs and an ankle for CeeDee Lamb. My indications that I've heard is that it's not that serious for either one of them. Of course, if you miss practice, you miss practice. You have to put that on the injury report. But I don't think those two guys, it's going to be that serious. We'll see what Mike McCarthy says here later on in a press conference here on Thursday. But all right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call. We already have a couple of callers, so let's get right to it. Zach in Atlanta, you're first.
Hey, good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good. Going to keep it short this morning. While we have Trey Lance on the roster, do you think there's a package ready, anything that can get him on the field and use him as a weapon, particularly in the running game?
Yeah, I think the key there is, thanks for the call, Zach, and they could do that. They 100% could do that. There's a couple things. Number one, from a rule standpoint, he's the third quarterback. You'd have to make him the backup quarterback so he could do all of that, and it'd be no issues. Now, you could have three quarterbacks active. If it's that important, you could have three quarterbacks active. That just means somebody else at another position. You're going to go short on something else. One less tight end, one less receiver, one less running back, one less defensive tackle, something. So you could do it especially if you move your elevations up. You want to move a linebacker down, and you could put a couple of guys up for on the practice court. You could do all that. That's what it would take to Then there's another part of, okay, you just paid the guy $60 million a year, and now in the red zone you want to take him off the field or run a different package, or at least to get the ball out of his hands one way or another. I get it. You're trying to score. You're trying to figure it out, but it would have to be a really dynamic type play for that to be the case. I just don't see them doing that, but that's just because they don't always think like that. I think other teams might try that, but again, the big thing is it's the third quarterback thing, and is it worth it for one or two plays? Is it worth it to do that and risk your depth at other positions? So. Or another thing, if they just feel like he's ready to be the backup, they'll take their chances and say, we'll do it for this game. If he has to play, he has to play. And then if something were to happen to Dak, knock on wood, but if something happens, then we'll figure that out for the next weeks. But they could do that and make him the backup if it's something they want to do. All right, Gary in New Mexico.
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good, bud. How are you?
I'm good, man. Maybe they ought to just move Trey Lance to tailback. I mean, he's your most explosive back as far as speed and breakaway stuff goes. Forget the quarterback thing. Move him to running back.
I don't know about that. It seems.
Well, no, I'm just that was a halfway joke. I was just catching the tail end. Hey, I did hear a trivia question. I heard a trivia question on the radio the other day.
Okay.
I wanted to run by you because it kind of surprised me. The trivia question was this: in the Super Bowl era,
okay,
which head coach has the most 2-0 starts?
In the NFL?
Yeah, in NFL history in the Super Bowl era, which head coach has the most 2-0 starts?
McCarthy. I don't know.
Now, somebody guessed McCarthy. I thought it was going to be Andy Reid or Bill Belichick, but it was Tom Landry.
Oh, really? Okay.
It was Coach Landry, yeah. He had 23 seasons as a head coach in the Super Bowl era. He had 16 2-0 starts.
Nice. Okay.
And Belichick was third, Shula was second. So that was my classic Cowboys moment. But back to this year's group.
Yeah.
I think they can lose to Baltimore. They can lose to Baltimore and still be okay. It's an AFC loss. They'd be 1-2. But they have to play well.
Yeah.
They cannot get blown out. They have got to go out and be competitive. And when I look at this game, all the experts are saying Dallas is going to lose. I think Dallas is even an underdog.
Yeah.
There's nothing that tells me. I mean, this is a bad matchup. It's just everything. So with all that said, I think they're going to go out and win the game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to surprise us. I think Dak Prescott, I love Dak. I'm glad they signed him, but he's got to raise his game. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be the highest paid player in the league, you can't miss that throw to Zeke on the goal line, even if you got pressure in your face. You got to raise your game, and I think he's going to do it. I think they're going to surprise us this week and pull out a victory.
I think it's an excellent call, Gary. I appreciate that. Really great stuff. Hate when I miss trivia questions like that. There's Tom Landry pictures all over the place. Why didn't I pick that one? Great question. And a great point, too. I think that's a great way to say it. It's not a must-win. It's a must-play well. It's a must-bounce-back game. You have to bounce back. You have to show some pride there and come back. And, I mean, you got beat down. And no one's feeling sorry for you because the Ravens are coming into town pretty mad, too. So they're going to be ready to go. But I just think the Cowboys have to show that they can be a physical football team because that's what happens in the playoffs. That's the difference. I mean, you can say Shanahan schemes and all that kind of stuff, and that it's about teams that run the football and are physical and strike first. You do all of those things. The Cowboys have a hard time matching up with that, especially a team that just is committed to running the ball. Because if you look at the way the Cowboys have been structured, they're a speed type of team. Their linebackers are, at times that look like safeties. They have a defensive end, one of the best in the games, but he looks like a linebacker, just from his body type. So that stuff works when it's your mismatch, but when it's the other way around, it doesn't. So it's just the way that it goes. But I agree that they have to come back and play well in this game. All right, Randy in Texarkana.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, Randy. How are you, bud?
I'm all right. So yesterday you said you like thinking outside the box. So I'm going to think outside the box in this first part. I know it'll never happen, but
Randy, you live outside the box, all right?
True that.
All right.
So now this weekend when you're on the sideline with the Joneses, you can mention it and you can tell them I said so. But Michael Irvin doesn't have a job on Sunday anymore. Give him a title, put him in a Cowboy shirt, put him on the sideline. What better hype man do you need? He's got all your experience. He can be in those guys' faces, yelling at them, telling them how to get hype. I mean, I'm just saying, it sounds like a great idea.
All right.
What do you think?
Hey, I mean, why not? And he might, he might actually run some routes and make some plays for you, especially around the goal line. So.
And he can be in CD's ear and tell him to quit pouting every 5 minutes. That's the one thing that I love CD, but the one thing that bothers me about him is he shows his pouting emotions too much on camera, and that's not a good look.
Okay, hold up now, because the last person that's going to tell him to keep that in check would be Michael Irvin now.
Absolutely.
I don't think you can wear 88 for the Cowboys and not have rants on the sideline. I don't know what Drew Pearson was doing back in the 70s. I don't know if the cameras caught him, but I know Michael did. I know Dez did. Antonio Bryant did at 88, and of course, CD's not as vocal as some of those guys, but he does, But what I've always go ahead, Randy.
I was gonna say, well, maybe that's the difference. Them guys were going off, and you could tell they're going off, but he looks more like a kid that didn't get his way. Like, Mama told him he couldn't have a snack. That's how he kind of looks. I don't know. It's a bad look, but I've got a question for you, and then I'll let you get to everybody else. All right, so the Ravens coming up. You can't run on them because of their defense. And the Ravens run, so we can't hardly stop the run. So my question to you is, if you had one shot to take, sounding like Eminem now, if you had one shot to take here and you could make a major trade with a major draft pick, would you select a quality running back? And I'm talking about a quality, not a backup, not just barely better than what we've already got, but a good running back. Or would you take a monster defensive lineman? Which one are you taking and why? And I'll listen out there, buddy.
All right, Randy.
All
Appreciate
right,
that.
man. All right, bye.
Oof. It's a good one. I would probably take, I mean, you said monster, so I would take a monster defensive lineman. I would take a guy because I feel like a monster defensive lineman or just a game changer there would help you in so many ways. I mean, like, I look at DeMarcus Ware's career, but I mean, and he was great, and he was going to be great regardless. But I mean, I think having a guy like Jay Ratliff in the middle that helped him, and probably vice versa. But I do think with Micah and Tank on the outside, I do think a defensive lineman like that would help those guys. That helps your pass rush, which helps your corners, and certainly it helps those linebackers get to where they want to go. So, and we've just seen running backs excel at all different types of players. I mean, if you're strong and you're quick, you can see the hole. You can help as long as you've got it blocked. So, they don't have that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd take a running back like that too, but I think they have other issues besides just the running back. I don't know. I don't know if who's the best back in the game. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, I guess. I don't know if the best running back in football is going to come in here and have the same kind of success. I think they have other issues in how they run it. All right, Derek in Springfield, Missouri. Derek.
Hey, how are you, Nick?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, good. It's been a while. Actually, the last time I got in was the first night after the first round of the draft. So,
wow.
Actually, it may have been the second day, whatever, but draft day. But anyway, man, I just wanted to call in and kind of voice some concern and an opinion. So, for starters, I'm nervous about this Ravens game. I'm worried they're just going to run the ball down our throat like the Saints did. So, not feeling great there. And then, I don't know. I just always get this feeling I feel like this team cannot handle success, whether it be short-term success. It's like after we beat Cleveland, it's like I just feel like they get a big head. I feel like they had a big head going into the Green Bay game. And, I mean, nobody really knows the truth on that, but I get that. I feel like some of these younger guys, I feel like they watch ESPN and hear the narratives, and, Dak does a good job saying he doesn't watch it and doesn't listen to it. So, I believe that. I guess what he says there, but I don't know. And then, I'm kind of pressing the panic button on this D-line. I really feel like it's time to use some of these future picks for next year, whether they be the comp picks that we've got coming or, a third rounder or whatever, to get some D-line help. We need somebody younger in that interior. I feel like last year we waited too long to try to get a linebacker, which, we never did. I mean, we tried to get Leonard to come in and, he went to Philly, which I don't think that moved the needle for them either, but
right.
I just don't want to see us wait around like we did last year at the linebacker position, at the D-line position. I'm personally not worried about the running game. I feel like when continuity is very important on the offensive line, and I feel like they're going to start gelling. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm just really worried about the D-line, the interior. So anyway, I know I said a lot. I'll get off here. Thank you very much, man.
Thanks, Derek. Well, it doesn't sound like the move to bring in Carlos Watkins has helped those concerns there for Derek. I'm joking. I mean, he is a guy that has played, pretty well when he was here for the Cowboys. He's on the practice squad for Washington. with Dan Quinn. So, he's definitely a DQ guy, but, he's a little younger, obviously, than what they had. And, they put Jordan Phillips on IR. So now they lose a little in size, of course, but maybe a little bit more from an agility standpoint, and younger. But he's been around. He's been to different teams, and he's coming off a biceps injury from last year. So we'll see. We'll see if Carlos Watkins can help with that. But yeah, I mean, I think what you're talking about is making trades for a young guy, and it's hard, man. The defensive tackles, they hang on to them in the league. They want to develop. Everybody wants to develop those young defensive tackles. So it's hard for them to kind of, cut ties and move on. There's just not a lot of guys out there at this point, especially when you think about just how many more players are on rosters now. 17 or 16 practice squad guys for most teams, and on top of, you have injured reserves and all that, and then a 53-man roster. There's 70, 75 players in each facility. So there's just not a lot of guys out there. I mean, to really help at this point in the season. All right, Ali in Florida.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, buddy. Couple questions. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Jones for signing Dak and CD. And second, I think Dak and Michael and Zeke is not our problem, especially talking about trades. No trades. And then Zeke is good for the short yardage and protection for Dak. So having said that, I believe in my heart Cowboys will win this game because they got kind of embarrassed. And everybody picking Baltimore, that's okay. But I don't think Henry is going to be a factor. I think Lamar Jackson is going to be more factor than Henry because Henry is just like a heavy running back. But one question, we got lucky Eagles lost, and they're going to go play Saints. Eagles, they drafted all Georgia tackles. They ranked worse than the Cowboys against rushing defense. So there's just one game. I agree with the couple callers before, that if we lose, we just got to play a great game to get the confidence up. Hopefully we don't have that much injury. I've got a question for you and hang up. Do you run to set up the pass, or do you pass to set up the run? Thank you, Nick.
All right.
I hang up and listen.
All right. That's one of those questions that, that's a lot of football coaches. They say one thing, but sometimes they do the other. I think the old school approach is run the ball to set up the pass. It sets up your play action, obviously. You could pass the ball to set up your run with draw plays and stuff like that. I always, I would try to move the ball to move the ball, and I know that's not answering the question, but it's just not ever one thing. It's never just this. This is not how it's done. I mean, you do, you do at times you're gonna need to run the ball, and you need to be good enough to take advantage of what you're seeing. That's what the great quarterbacks can do. You might have the greatest running back behind you, but when Troy Aikman had Emmitt Smith and they had an 8 in the box, I mean, I can tell you in my very first game I've ever went to as an employee with the Cowboys, 99 Washington game in overtime. 3rd and 2, they were going to run the ball. They were going to run the ball to Emmitt Smith. But Washington was cheating everyone down. So Troy checked out of it and threw a deep ball to Rocket Ismail to win the game. I mean, they were going to run to set up the pass, but they had done it all. So I think it's a great question, and it's great to have a philosophy. But I think the best philosophy is to say, I'm going to go move the ball based off of what I see from your defense on this particular play. And you need to be good enough to run it when they think you're going to run, good enough to pass when they think you're going to pass, and then, good enough to switch it around as well. All right, let's go. Let's take a break real quick on Cowboys storyline. Let's do that. We'll get some calls and some more questions when we come back.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit AltecLansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's AltecLansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Saturday, September 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Go to the Rally Days at AT&T Stadium. It's presented by SeatGeek. You can visit AT&TStadium.com/Rally Days to get your tickets today. All right, let's continue with the phone lines here. Irene, Falls Church, Virginia. Irene.
Yes. Hello.
What's
Hey,
up?
first of all, haven't called in this week yet. I have to say I'm very proud of Cowboys Nation. I thought there would have been angrier calls Monday, Tuesday. That's why I was like, let me just let them get it out. There was passion, but nothing crazy. So I guess it's too early. Anyhow, so started watching the film on the Ravens. I didn't watch fully the second game, but I of course watched the Thursday night game to open the season. They've been in two close games, although the first one didn't start it. Everything just kind of looks tough with them. It's not, I don't know why they're 0-2. They don't seem to be flowing well on offense yet. I don't know if there's weakness in their offensive line because it's kind of early to tell. It could just be the defensive lines they're up against. I guess we're about to see. But it just looks like it'll be a hard-fought game one way or another. Something I was thinking about with the Eagles-Falcons game, I think another caller said this a couple of days ago, why are we never in a close game? So I think I hope we're in for a close game because it could go the Saints' way. But it would be nice to be able to play one of these, even if we don't win it, to be like, okay, we can be in a battle and, see a few things go our way, not like, it's done by the second quarter,
Yeah.
One thing I noticed on film, especially because I actually agree on the playing Deuce more and playing Lipke more, at least giving it a shot. These guys are really tough against wide runs. I keep seeing, -5 yard runs. So it might need to be something where they try some screen game, which I know we haven't been great at for, I don't even know, a decade maybe. But that it might be the time to try that. They seem to... It's again, nothing's going to come easy with them, but there's some moderate success there that I've noticed. Anyway, I will say this: so far, I'm 0-2 in my Cowboys predictions this year, so it might bode well because I haven't seen anything to give me a win here for our boys, but maybe that bodes well that I'll be 0-3 in my predictions this year. All right.
Yeah, I like how you think. I'm the same way. You think, it's going to be this and flip it around and all that. Yeah, I play mind games with yourself. You talked about close games. The Cowboys, I'm looking at last year, I think it's only 5 that I see that are, we're talking like 1-score games here. And I only count 5 on the schedule, and the Cowboys were 3-2 in those games. So, they beat the Chargers by 3 and then lost to the Eagles by 5 in a game that, they had a great chance to win that one. And then they beat Seattle at home. That was a very close game back and forth. Miami, another game they could have won. And then Detroit, a game that they did win. Could have lost. Obviously, it was close. So, yeah, 5 games out of 17, that's not a lot. And you credit, the Cowboys were a good team. They last year, and jury's still out if they're going to be good this year. But I mean, they were good last year. Their offense was really good, one of the best in the league, and their defense was very good and opportunistic at times. So that's what you're going to get, a lot of blowouts. So we'll see what happens here. But so far it hasn't been a close games. But I have a feeling this one might be. All right, Dylan in Northport, Florida.
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I want to give you my prediction and a bold prediction, but before I do that, we're talking about the run game and the offensive line and running backs, and we don't really ever talk about the receivers. And I was looking at some stats and stuff, and right now, I know PFF's not the end-all, be-all or whatever, but they're a good resource. And Tolbert right now has their 5th worst run blocking grade as a receiver. Cooks has the 10th worst run blocking grade as a receiver, and we saw Brooks miss a big block on the end around. That could have been a touchdown, could have potentially changed the game last week, maybe, at least from the offensive side. And so a part of, and Irene said, the Ravens are pretty good on the outside runs and stuff. But once you get to that second level, and if you do need to break a run outside, I mean, you're counting on these guys to block. And this team runs a lot of end arounds and stuff like that. So if they're going to be successful in that regard, they've got to have receivers out there that can block. And I know that Flournoy is a guy that we saw in training camp and preseason. He put a couple guys on their butts in preseason games. So I'd like to see him out there maybe a little bit more this week and see what we can do.
Yeah. I mean, all right, Dylan, that's a good observation there. And I know that, PFF, Pro Football Focus, they do a good job of that kind of stuff. And I think it's an important part of the position at wide receiver. It's not just, running routes and catching. It's the biggest part, but you certainly can help your entire team with guys that can block on the edge and not get, flagged for penalties and set you back and things like that. And, Tolbert's had some struggles there and, he's not the biggest guy in the world, neither is Cooks, but you got to be able to be a willing blocker that can get in the way. You don't need pancakes out there. You need to be able to wall them off and seal the edge or whatever you're trying to do and make sure that, a big play can get even bigger down the field. So that's a good observation, and it's something that it's a sneaky part of the game, a sneaky aspect that can slow you down. While you're not. You say, well, why don't we have explosive plays? Well, we have some decent runs, some decent plays here and there, but it's only 10 to 15. We don't get those 30 to 40. And a lot of times it's the receivers blocking that'll make those nice chunk plays into really big plays. So, all right, good stuff there. Anthony in Miami, I'm sure you have no emotion. What's up?
No, Nick the Quick, my guy. What's up, baby? What's up? Yeah, I got I came on Monday and I tried to do what I do, try to be one of the more positive guys, try to defute the Stephen A. and his listeners, which is some of them are Cowboys, because one guy agreed with him, and try to defute that Cowboy stuff, fan stuff, because I know I'm a real one. And I'm listening, and I'm listening yesterday. Thank you, Brian, because, I shouted out you guys. I always shout out people, man. I'm just one of those type of dudes. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, I'm going to sing every time we win. I'm going to sing. But anyway, I heard something yesterday, and it kind of let me, and I've been hearing it. I heard it all off season, and it's about Micah. Now, I met you, Nick, last year on the show, on Hanging with the Boys, my show. I've been calling them for 7 years, loyal. And I told you, I like you. I'm going to call you. And you even gave me a great compliment about watching the game with a guy like me, as spirited as me. And in that call, I gave Dak Prescott a pep talk. Remember that? I don't know if you remember.
Kind of. I definitely remember being there and talking to you, but tell me again.
Yeah. Okay. When I said about the Michael Gallup, you ain't got to throw it to Michael Gallup, do more things, run and all that. I got to give another guy a talk, and that's Michael Parsons. Michael, you're becoming my second favorite player, man. Don't listen to this garbage you're hearing. People go with this podcast stuff, and the podcast ain't bad when you play and you wreck shop like you did in Cleveland. When you should be the MVP, the defensive player of the year, as in last year, and you're competing against guys like Watt and Garrett and all that, podcast ain't bad. But when people scheme against you and stuff like that, Michael Parsons can't play anymore. I just don't get it. People try to insinuate it, and some of them outright say it. Man, if y'all mad and y'all mad at the Cowboys losing, I'm going to give you some players to look at. And I saw the game, too. Terrence Steele was straight garbage. All three tackles, maybe except for Osa, was garbage. Malik Hooker, garbage. Damone Clark was garbage that game. Now, nobody played great, but that was garbage. So if y'all watching y'all film and y'all all 22s, I don't do that. I don't have faith. I don't have anything. I'm not in a group. I'm an independent caller, and I can call it like I see it. The Cowboys have to play better. The coaches got to get a little bit more innovative, and the key to winning from all my old football people that played ball that I know down here in Miami that I talked to, and some on the Cowboys team that were friends of mine, until the players, no matter what schemes the coaches give them, until those players come together as a collective and say, I'm not going to be the man that they beat. I'm not going to be the man that causes my team to lose today, and have that culture, get that mentality and that mindset. You can do whatever you want to do and add whoever you want to the team until they get that and get that culture going for 2 to 3 years. Then they got a chance at a Super Bowl. Other than that, let's just sit back and enjoy the ride and let's hope they get there. That's all I got to say, Nick.
Right.
Sorry, I had to let that out.
All right, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
We have a segment on this week that we have to do every week, which is sponsored by Yeti, the Yeti Hot Take of the Week. And Anthony, you're flirting with that, of course, because certainly you seemed pretty hot under the collar. Hot about a lot of things. Not a fan of calling the players garbage, though. Or especially for their performance in the game, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, but doesn't have to be rolled out to the alley and picked up on Tuesdays. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's what I view for garbage. I think they have to. They those guys have to play better. There's no doubt about it. I think there's a way to say that, but I get it. I hear, I feel the passion. I hear it. Let's hope the Cowboys as a team can go out and play that way as well. And the part about Micah Parsons, as great as he has been and he is, the game got away from him literally because they went away from him. But those players, have to step up, and his play has to make others better. But he has to play. He has to set the edge as well. They were running at him. They ran at him because that's the best way to neutralize him. And so he's going to have to figure out how to get off those blocks too and make plays and force it back inside. And that there's a big part of that on defense, that it's not just about rushing the passer. All right, Rob in Vegas is next. Rob.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Rob.
I heard a couple of fans say that the Cowboys don't have to win this game. They just have to look good. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. This isn't Pee Wee football. There's no participation trophy. Mm-mm. This team has to win this game because they have to show they could beat good teams. They struggle against good teams with good quarterbacks. Yeah, they're going to beat the Giants with Daniel Jones or Washington or Carolina. They eat those teams like Cleveland. But, yes, there's no participation trophy. This team, it's time for this team to actually do something. To get where they got to go, they're going to have to beat the Lions, the Ravens, teams like that, because that's who you're going to face.
Yeah, but you know what, Rob? If they beat the Ravens, you know exactly what people are going to say. Well, they're 0-3. They suck.
Yeah, but that's them. I don't care what the outside say.
Well,
as a fan, I understand how good the Ravens are.
Okay.
But what I'm really looking at is what the Ravens do good, we don't. So if we somehow adjust and beat them, then I could say, okay, Zimmer gets it. Zimmer found something. Zimmer made some changes. If we get trucked again and Lamar Jackson is running outside again and we just get blown off the field, then no, it does. Then I say to myself, here we go again. This team will beat the bad teams, but they will not beat the good teams.
Okay, you just went hot and cold. What about in the middle? That's what I think these callers were talking about. One's talking about getting trucked. Yeah,
but who wants to be in the middle? What is the middle? What do you mean? Eight,
okay.
9 and 8?
No. What they said, and I'm going to defend the callers because I agreed with that part. What they said is that they've got to play well in this game. Like they have to play well.
Yes, but they have to win.
Or what?
No.
Or what? They're 1-2, and then the season's canceled.
It's No, they have to win. They don't get – trust me, these are professional athletes. They're not coming off the field and high-fiving themselves if they lose 35-31 and say, ooh, we played good. No, that little kids do that. No, these guys got to win because they understand, too, that they haven't beaten good teams with good quarterbacks in a couple of years. They understand that. The Dallas Cowboys are looking to go to the playoffs. They're looking to go to the NFC Championship.
Right.
They understand to get there, you have to beat these teams. And it's now or never. Why not now? So what I'm saying, and you got them at home, which you got lucky because it could have been worse. You could have been in Baltimore. So you got them at home. It's another home game. You already got blown out the first one, so you let one slide. Let's face it. We had a great home record last year. They have to take advantage of being at home. No, I'm not. This isn't a must-win technically, but this is a must-win for them because they just need to beat a good team, not play good and lose.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's fine. We can agree to disagree, and
Wait a minute. So you think if they play good and lose, that's going to make them feel good?
I don't care about how they feel. I mean, it doesn't matter about how they feel.
So then I don't understand why everybody's saying, and you're agreeing with people that are saying, well, they don't have to win. They just have to play good. What does that do?
Well,
you have to win.
You just said it yourself that it's not a must-win.
No. It's not a must-win on paper, but it's a must-win in their brain, and that's more important than the paper.
Okay.
Because there will be more. They're going to have to play good teams.
All right. I think the point that I'm making, and I don't know about what everybody is because we've heard two people. There's been 9 callers. What I'm saying is that if they lose a close game, that won't be good. Obviously, they'll be 1-2. They'll be in a hole and all that. But I think there's probably some things you can work on. It's a long season. You've got some more winnable games. You're going to have to figure out some things. If they get blown out again like they did in week 2, now we have major problems. Major problems.
Oh, yeah, that's a definite.
So that's what I'm saying is must win? No, you agreed. Not a must win.
Not saying no, not on paper.
You must play well in this game. You must.
But you have to win. You need to win. You need to beat this. You need to show yourselves that the Green Bay game and the Saints game were that aberration. That's not the norm.
Right.
But if you lose again to the Ravens, maybe that is the norm. That good teams with good quarterbacks are going to beat you, even at home.
Yeah, and maybe, but you just kind of switched it when you said they need to win. I get it. It's like sleep. You must have sleep. I mean, you need sleep, but you don't have to have it every single minute. This is one of those games, and I think we're saying the same thing. We're saying the exact same thing. My point is,
I think we are.
Okay,
but I just didn't understand when people say they don't have to win. This will be a feel-good game if they play good. Absolutely not.
Never heard that.
That's ridiculous.
And I haven't heard that on this show either.
They just said it. Two callers.
Nobody said feel good. No one said feel good. All right, Rob. All right, we're going to move on. Thank you for the call. But that's fine. We're going to take a break. We're going to take our second break real quick on Cowboy StoryLine. We'll be right back to finish it up.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys Game Day is brought to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL. The NFL season is full of legendary tales on and off the field. And when you follow the captain within you, stories become stuff of legends. So gather your crew and visit followthecaptain.com to begin your adventure. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spiced Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
Back to Cowboys StoryLine.
All right, we got limited tickets available for home games at 2024 Dallas Cowboys schedule. You can go to SeatGeek.com, the official primary ticketing partner of the Dallas Cowboys, to get your Cowboy tickets. All right, let's continue on here. Tim in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Tim.
How you doing, Nick?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just want to. I think we win this game if we show some physicality. Even if we lose on the scoreboard, what I'd really like to see us do against a physical team is just be physical with them. Don't just get punched in the mouth and say, okay, it's okay, you just hit me in my mouth. But I think we win if we match their physicality. And that's all I got to say.
All right. Sounds good. Don't want to go down that road again about don't have to win and all that kind of stuff. I agree. You have to play well. You have to show that you can be a tough football team. And that's the point that I was making. I think the point that the callers were making. This is not let's don't get into the moral victory part of it. It's you can bounce back this year. There's a lot of football left. You can bounce back if you start off 1-2. I mean, because if you start off 1-2, you play a good close game and don't beat the Ravens, you can still turn things around, because I guarantee you're going to think the Ravens are good because they're 1-2. I mean, like, you're going to say that they still have time. I think the point that everyone's making is don't stack that crappy game that you just showed in week 2 against the Saints at home. Don't put another one out there against the Ravens in week 3 and expect this to go well. It's not. And I think that's when you hit the panic button, because that means you're really not a good football team if you can't respond in a game like that. So I think that's what everyone is. It's early to find anything out. Win close, lose close, win big. You still don't know a lot about the team. Get beat bad, though, in this game, you know a lot about the team, and it's not a good thing. And I think that's the point. At least that's the point I was trying to make. All right, Troy in Amarillo is next.
Hey, Nick, how's it going, man?
Good.
First-time caller, bud. Hey, real quickly, I was just going to tell you, I don't defend Rob a whole lot, man, but I think Rob had a point the last time. Nick, the only thing he was basically saying, and I'm saying it too, is that you have to win some of these games, and I get it, but the narrative last year was, we had Green Bay coming in, we had a rookie, basically a rookie quarterback coming in, and stuff. We had everything set up. If we would have won that game and somehow the Niners lose, we'd have had a coast all the way to the championship game. And then this year, you've got the narrative is, well, you've got a lot of tough games, but most of them are at home. I think we're going to struggle this week coming up. I really do, because I don't think we can stop the run, for one thing. We can't run the ball very well, per attempt. But, it's just, I don't see them having a whole lot of success this year unless they get those things fixed. And this has been an ongoing problem. So, I love Anthony to death, man, and don't get me wrong, but Micah, for all he does, everything like that, I love Micah. But the thing is, though, is that if he doesn't enjoy a little bit of success in the first half, he kind of pouts a little bit, and then he does kind of a disappearing act in the second half. And for a guy that's probably wanting a $300 million contract, I could see where, man, there would be a little bit of apprehension, man. So I'm just saying, but I love all these guys, love the commentary, and I appreciate it, Nick. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call. First-time caller, Troy. Appreciate that. And the thing about let's say the Micah part. I mean, I think if the game doesn't go well, you're saying he doesn't make a lot of plays and pouts in the second. Maybe you could say that, but it's also like, what does he do best? He rushes the quarterback and he makes plays and gets sacks and disrupts the passing game. And when you're in a game like that against the Saints or Buffalo last year, or any of those games where, it's kind of out of hand in the second half and they're running the ball and they're not going to do anything but run the ball, then of course you're not going to see a lot of Micah Parsons. That's not really his game. And so that's part of it. And I would imagine all of the great pass rushers in the league, they're all kind of the same way. If Pittsburgh gets down, if Raiders get down, I bet TJ Watt, Max Crosby are just not as good when you're just running the ball. You're not seeing that kind of, disruptive play. So now pouting and whatever it is, that's body language that, we're trying to put on him. But, I just think that he needs to run. I mean, he plays his best when, the ears are pinned back and they're going after, and the whole defense does. But they got to do their part early on, and the offense has to help on the other side to get them that lead, to be able to play that way. That's a vacation. That's what that is you're playing a vacation. But you can't have a vacation if you don't do the dirty work to save money and do, figure out how to buckle down and then save up for that reward. It's the same type of thing. You can't play that kind of football if you haven't done the work in the first half, and that's kind of what it is. All right, and we're going to be all right, so the calls, we are free on calls right now. Lines are open. We got a few more minutes. We could probably sneak one more in, but I'll just say this, and maybe we'll kind of, tie a bow on this one. I don't think, and no one, I do enough talking. No one's going to put any words in my mouth, okay? So we're not talking about that they don't have to win the game, and it's fine if they lose. No one is saying that. All I'm saying is this is to the last caller, obviously to the one with Rob, and anybody else, anyone that's trying to say that they don't have to go out and win this game. No, you have. That's the goal. You have to go win the game. All I'm saying is we're going to find a lot out about this team if they do not respond and they do not play well. If they don't play well again, then I think that there's major problems. Week 3, not even out of September, and you can say this team has major problems. That's one thing that I think we're going to be able to figure out, and we hope we don't get that way. That's the point. That's the one thing that you're really going to be able to say, that's who this team is if they don't go out and play well. Any other scenario, then I think the jury is still out. And that's kind of my point to all this is that, and even if they do get blown out, it doesn't mean you ended up the season, doesn't mean we're not having a show, doesn't mean all that. All I'm saying is it's going to be one of those games, one of those seasons, if they don't go out and play well. And I think they will. I think they will respond. I think they're too good of a team to just lay down, but it'll be really sad if they don't do that. All right, let's go to, is it Jeff in Detroit?
Hey, Nick, how's it going? This is Jesse from the outside of Detroit, Michigan area.
Sorry, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm not going to hammer or speak about the defense. I think that has already been talked enough from the previous callers. But for me, what I would like to see is more movement in the offense. From Mike McCarthy, I think our offense is stagnant. I would like to see more motion in the offense. I think he has to do a better job in scheming these players up to get open and not just take the Garrett approach and beating the man in front of you. So I'm hoping that he will make some changes going down the line, especially the team we just played in New Orleans. I think with all the motion and movement that they had, allowed their quarterback to be very effective in the passing game. So that's all I had to say. I'm focusing more on the offense than defense, man. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. Movement on, before the snap, movement during the play. It's key. It's absolutely critical. And it's the smart coordinators can do it, and the smart players as well. I mean, Eli Manning is not one of the most elusive quarterbacks of all time, but he didn't get sacked a lot, And that's the thing. Derek Carr not either. But the way they moved him in the pocket and strategically moved him away from Micah, I mean, it was a perfect setup, the perfect plan, and you got to give them credit for the way that they did that. Now, if you think Carr was on the move, this quarterback's going to be on the move in a lot of different ways as well. And so, what a nightmare he is to try to stop. But he has been stopped. I mean, he hasn't been stopped. I mean, he's getting 167 rushing yards. The Cowboys as a team have 170. So, that goes to show they're not running the ball very well, and he's running it a lot. But it might be a situation where teams are saying, Let him have his. He's going to run all wild, and then we get into the red zone. We'll tighten this thing up, make him make throws, and have to kick field goals and try to win that way. That could be a strategy as well. So we'll see what the Cowboys do with him. Lamar Jackson, only the second time they've ever played him. They played him in 2020 in a Wednesday game that I'm still kind of salty about. NFL decided to move the game because Lamar Jackson had COVID, I believe is what went down. I mean, anybody else had COVID and he got to play the game, but when he had it, they had to move it to Wednesday. Or at least that's kind of how I remembered it. But and he was kind of a difference in the game if you remember, like he is most games. All right, we'll continue to talk about Cowboys and Ravens on Friday when we wrap up the week. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We will see you tomorrow on Cowboy Storyline. See you.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. How about this?